Hey, welcome to my Cash2Keys Mastermind Live. We're broadcasting on our YouTube channel at Cash2Keys and our Facebook group, Cash2Keys Mastermind, and also on my personal Tom Bickett page. The point of today's live is really to get into our Cash2Keys program. What is it? A little bit of market update, and really give you a nice overview of the two offerings inside of Cash2Keys, our Buy Now, Sell Later program, as well as our cash offer program. So the question that I get a lot is, what is Cash2Keys? Cash2Keys is a platform that was developed by Amy Mack Private Equity, a holding company within the Amy Mack family of companies. And we started it a little over 2 years ago. It was in September of 2021 where we started producing Cash2Keys programs, and really excited about what we've been able to do in 2 years. I'm in the South Jersey branch just outside Philadelphia. Andy Craig, our branch manager, we were one of the first branches to run with this particular program. And in the 2 years that we've been doing it, we've helped over 100 families unlock the market by making cash offers when they didn't have the cash to do it. So Cash2Keys is a platform that allows buyers to go to market and operate as a cash buyer. There's two programs. One is called Buy Now, Sell Later, and that is specifically designed for people that are home sale contingent. I would like to buy a new home, but I can't until I get my existing home sold. We know that's a really difficult offer in this marketplace to get done. The second is cash offer. So that's for that first-time home buyer, maybe somebody that's not home sale contingent, maybe that somebody just hasn't owned a home in a while, maybe they'd like to buy a second home. Cash offer is designed to allow them to go to market and make a cash offer with no finance contingencies. See, we believe the market is changing. Right now, the old way of doing business is a seller lists their home, people make offers, they provide a pre-qualification letter, and that seller is supposed to trust that the lender, the client, the realtor representing that did their job. And in most cases, that is absolutely the case. But there are times where the seller holds all that risk. Maybe the deal falls apart. Maybe someone loses their job. Maybe someone gets cold feet. Maybe something happens that causes that deal to fall apart, right? We believe as a lender, if we're going to put a piece of paper out there that says we're going to help this client buy this home, we should have some skin in the game, right? And the skin in the game for us is Cash2Keys, because we are allowing that private equity arm to allow customers to go to market and make cash-backed offers. And we'll get into the strategies here in just a little bit. But what I did want to do is go ahead and go through a little bit of a market update here for y'all. So you can see here, right now, this is the inventory picture in the United States. I know individual markets are a lot different. I know here in New Jersey that these are a little bit lower inventory, but this is inventory in our market. You can see inventory going down over the last couple of years. However, we've seen a nice pickup in inventory in a lot of markets around the country. That, I believe, is due simply because of what's going on with interest rates. These are interest rates going back over the last 10 years. And during the COVID years, which is essentially right in the beginning of 2020, interest rates bottomed out to historical lows. And now we're looking at 30-year highs, right? So as interest rates have gone up over the last 2 years, right, it makes sense that inventory has grown. There's not as many buyers in the market right now that are wanting to potentially buy at these particular interest rates. However, if you looked at the end of this curve, there's a little bit of a drop. November is probably one of the best months we've seen in over 2 years for interest rates improving. Yes, they are still high. However, they've come down anywhere between 0.5 to 0.75 of a point over that 30-day period. That could be the month that we all look back to and say that was the month when things changed. And why is that important, right? This next slide shows you something that I track called the Mortgage MBA Purchase Index. So they track the number of people that are looking to get money to go buy a home. And the green circle that I have here are the last 4 weeks. So it would make sense that over the last 4 weeks, as interest rates started to come down just a little bit, more and more people would raise their hands and put themselves in the market. We know that there's a lot of people out there that still need to buy a home. And as these interest rates calm down, and we don't know when they're going to come down, to how far they're going to come down, but we know based on evidence that as rates do come down, more and more people raise their hands. We believe that inventory is going to remain challenged in many markets. I know here in New Jersey, there's not a lot of new home construction, so we're relying upon resale. And I bet a lot of your markets are the same. So something that I've been talking about, I got this slide from Barry Habib 3 years ago when he first started talking about age demographics. And the thing that I like to point out here is that we know that the average age of family formation happens when people turn the age of 33. That is happening to people this year that were born in 1990, which is essentially right at the start of this blue arrow during the millennial yellow box here. And more people were born during that millennial time phrase. So more and more people are going to be entering that age of family formation, and we know that's going to put added buyer pressure into our markets. So as interest rates continue down, inventory remains tight, and buyer demand stays high, we know that it's going to be difficult to get offers accepted moving forward, right? And that's really what's kind of led us into our Cash to Keys initiative. So why now, right? Inventory is building, but it's still historically low. Rates are seeing their first real rate rally improvement in the last 2 years, and large generational buyer demand remains high. And we see that staying high over the next 5 to 7 years before we see a little bit of dip in the birth rates in the late 90s. All right, which kind of leads me to where we are right now. You know, I want to spend some time talking about the two programs that we offer: Buy Now, Sell Later, and Cash Offer. So Buy Now, Sell Later is that program that's designed to help somebody that's home sale contingent. I would like to buy a new home, but I need to sell my existing house. In this market, that is proven to be really difficult. If someone makes an offer with a contingency attached for selling their home, many times that seller is saying, thank you, next. Why? Because there's enough buyers out there that are not contingent. We know right now that about a third of home transactions are taking place utilizing cash. So 1 out of 3 people are stepping up to the table, making a cash purchase. And we also know that when sellers receive a cash offer, 90% of the time, they are taking a cash offer. So Buy Now, Sell Later does two things. We ask ourselves a question: if this person were to sell their home, would we give them a mortgage to purchase the next house? The second thing we do is we evaluate their existing house. We do some analysis to determine what could that home sell for in this market. And then we give it a little bit of a discount for time value. And now we know that in a worst case scenario, what they might sell their house for. We know what they owe in their home. And we're armed with the knowledge that our underwriter would love to give them a mortgage once their home sells. And we know how much they're going to get once it does sell. We're going to allow that customer and that realtor to go to market and make a cash offer. Cash to Keys is actually the buyer on their behalf. So Cash to Keys goes to market, makes a cash offer, goes under contract, and will purchase the home that that buyer wants. No contingencies, no financial challenges, cash offer. You go ahead and get that home sold, and there's 2 paths to the settlement table with Buy Now, Sell Later. Path number 1 is, great news, we're under contract to buy your home for cash, your new home for cash, and you go ahead and get your house listed and sold, and you can marry up those 2 dates to where you can have a same-day settlement the traditional way. The cool thing is Cash to Keys will give that customer our cash contract. They'll buy directly from the seller. And in that path, a 100% free Cash to Keys transaction for that Buy Now, Sell Later client. But a lot of our clients, about 70%, use the Buy Now feature where we actually go to settlement and we buy the home. Cash to Keys is the owner of this brand new home. We allow the buyer to move into that home in a tenant-level relationship, no out-of-pocket money being paid for monthly rent. And then it gives them the time to stage the home properly to get it sold for absolute top dollar. And whenever they turn around and resell that home, or we would then turn around and resell them the new home that we bought for them. So we buy now cash, they move into it, you sell existing home, and the same day we will have a third settlement where we resell the home to them for the same price we paid. We call this unlocking the market. For all those people that are sitting in their homes, that have tons of equity. Maybe you're a first-time home seller, someone who bought their first house 3 to 5 years ago, sitting on a ton of equity, not exactly sure what to do with it, but you know that you need a bigger house, or maybe you want a different school district. Something is causing you to want to move. but you know you're contingent and how difficult that could be. Buy now, sell later can completely unlock the market for that particular buyer. So we've had a ton of success with that. The other program that we offer is something that we refer to as Cash Offer. Cash Offer is a program that allows that first-time home buyer or somebody that's not home sale contingent, or maybe somebody that would like to own a second home. That finance contingency is something that people have to contend with, especially for low down payment first-time home buyers, putting down 3 or 5% mortgages, or maybe that veteran. We do this with VA loans. We take the same approach we do with buy now, sell later. We do a complete underwrite on the front end and ask ourselves, would we give this client a mortgage to go buy a home? And if the answer to that is yes, we lock arms with them, we go to market, and we allow them to be able to make a cash offer. That means there's no finance contingency attached to that offer. That contract has no mortgage commitment date in it, because ultimately what's going to happen is on the day of settlement, they're going to buy the house from that seller. The seller is going to get exactly what they wanted, which is an agreed upon price. Yes, at the closing table, the buyer is going to get a mortgage from us. But what the cash offer does is offer that seller a cash guarantee. If something happens to where that buyer no longer can perform, they lose their job, they get cold feet, they spent their money, they bought a car, something happens that causes them not to be able to go to the settlement table, Cash2Keys will step in with our cash guarantee, and we will buy the home on behalf of that buyer. We will uphold the integrity of that contract and allow Cash2Keys to buy the home from the seller. All the seller wants to do is get the agreed upon price and sell their home so they can move on to their next endeavor. The cash guarantee makes that possible, okay? And that's the beautiful part of these programs, is now that we have 2 years under our belt and we understand that this market isn't operating efficiently due to the things we already mentioned, higher interest rates, higher buyer demand, lower inventory, contingencies causing concerns. But the one thing that a lot of people have is equity. They have the money in the buy now, sell later strategy. They just don't know how to unlock it. Buy now, sell later can absolutely make that happen for them. Just a couple quick use cases. We had a customer recently who was using cash offer to purchase their home. The week of settlement, they lost their job. They were laid off. There was downsizes at their company. It completely hit them blindsided. And in a normal transaction, that deal would fall apart. The customer would miss out. The agents would miss out. The seller misses out. Everybody involved in the party would have to go home. Okay. Cash2Keys stepped in, executed our cash guarantee, and we purchased the property for that buyer. Now, the great news is the buyer was quickly able to turn around and find a new job and be able to qualify for that home. We then resold them the home, allowing them to get the home that they always wanted. I had a customer a couple of years ago, one of our first buy now, sell later strategies. The customer had made a mishap on their credit. We have to do a credit refresh 10 days before closing. We were lined up there, moving out of Philadelphia over to South Jersey, found a beautiful home. We won that contract using our cash out of 10 different offers. And a week before closing, we learned that he had missed a payment on his credit card, and that nosedived his credit to the point where he no longer qualified at all. Cash2Keys stepped in, and we bought the house that they wanted to buy. It took him about 2 months to sell his house in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, while I was out there, trying to sell his house in Philadelphia, he worked on his credit. We gave him the strategies. We gave him the ideas to improve credit. Great news is he got his credit score right back up, and we were able to close. As soon as he sold his house in Philadelphia, we were able to close on his house in Jersey and get him owning the home that Cash2Keys had bought 2 years prior. I had a first-time home buyer recently who was getting frustrated. She was a great client, mid-700 credit, great job, good income, but she didn't have a lot of money saved. She was making a low down payment first-time home buyer approach, and she had made 7 offers in the market with another lender. Their agent had learned about Cash2Keys at one of their trainings, gave it a chance. We went ahead and did a soft pull, didn't hurt them at all, and realized that she perfectly qualified for our cash offer strategy. Not only that, we were able to marry it up with one of our first-time home buyer initiatives where she got a little bit of money to help offset some down payment. And she got her 3rd offer accepted utilizing Cash2Keys, and she beat out multiple offers. In fact, you can find that story on my YouTube page at Cash2Keys, where you can learn exactly what she did to be able to take advantage of our cash offer. I could go on and on about the success stories that we've seen utilizing Cash to Keys. My business partner, Andy Craig, recently had a client who had been shopping for a year traditional ways, came over to Cash to Keys, got their second offer accepted, and they beat out legitimately, it was like 32 other offers on this home. They took ours because it was cash, okay? That's the power in this market of cash. I know in many markets it might get a little softer during the winter months, and that's totally okay. And maybe this program isn't the right fit right now. But for people who are gearing up for the future market, who are gearing up for the spring markets in their local markets, people who believe, as I do, that interest rates are going to slowly start to come down as inflation cools off, it's only going to make it more challenging. You need to have your offer stand out in a crowded space. And that's exactly what Cash to Keys is offering to our realtors. It's offering to our loan originators, and most importantly, is helping our consumers win in this market. In South Jersey, I studied Gloucester County through September, the data I had, and I compared deals that close with cash and deals that close with a finance offer. The cash deals paid on average 1% more than list price, whereas a financed offer paid over 3% more than list price. So whether you use a strategy to just help you get the offer one, it is actually saving people thousands and thousands of dollars by executing with Cash to Keys cash. Help yourself out, change the market, change the way you look at the market. The transaction is changing, right? The world of real estate is changing. It's basically gone unchanged for 40 years. We like to think that Cash to Keys is really changing how this system works. You know, one of my favorite questions that I ask clients is, if your dream home hits the market tomorrow, are you in a financial position to make a winning offer? Right? Are you in that financial position to make an offer that's so attractive that the seller has no choice but to take yours? Right? We believe cash is the solution to that. Right? Cash wins. Cash is obvious. Cash allows people to operate at a much higher level. And if you're able to sell your house, not worrying about getting out of your contingency using buy now, sell later, you're actually able to make more money on your sale in many chances, right? Because you're taking the offer that allows you to get absolute top dollar, not the offer that's going to get you out of your contingency, right? And I think that's what's really important to remember about Cash to Keys. It's not just a cash conduit, right? This is designed to help people perform better, both in executing on purchase contracts, also on getting their home sold. A lot of our clients were able to move out of their home and stage their house and get a ton more money than they were able to get sold. In fact, this brings me to a really good story. I had a customer that came to us buy now, sell later. They were contingent. It was August of last summer, 2022. And they got under contract using cash, which was awesome. They found a cash buyer for their existing house and got their home sold under a cash offer. And we were going to make it all marry up on the same day, where they would sell in the morning to that cash buyer and then buy directly from the seller, not even needing Cash to Keys. We just gave them a mortgage. About a week beforehand, the cash buyer backed out. They didn't get their money. So Cash to Keys stepped in. We bought the house. Our client moved into there. Based on their realtor's recommendation, they made some very minimal updates to the home and spent some money, of course, to make the home appear nicer through staging, which is easy to do when you're not living in it. And they ended up getting an offer on that home that was about $20,000 higher than what that cash buyer was willing to pay them. So using some staging strategies with buy now, sell later, and you really are setting yourself up to maximize and win in most markets. And I think that's probably, you know, if I can say anything about Cash Keys, one, it's not just helping people win, but it's helping people preserve and make money in this crazy market that we're in. And that's a win-win. Anytime you have a win-win situation where the customer is executing with our cash, real estate agents are spending less time showing multiple properties just to get one offer accepted. On average, with Cash to Keys, we're getting a contract for every 1.4 offers made. So what does that really mean? By the time you make your second offer with Cash to Keys, there's a really good chance your client's going to be under contract. They can save you countless hours in driving and showing and writing up offers, and it allows that client to really just take advantage of this market and beyond. So we're big fans of it. We've had a lot of success with it. I'm thankful for our Cash2Keys Mastermind group and for the realtors that plug in there and learn and listen. You know, realtors who are taking advantage of this program are really having a lot of success. And for the realtors that are listening, what a great listing strategy. When you're sitting down talking to somebody that could be home sale contingent, maybe they're concerned about the current rate environment. We know that when rates come down, it's only going to make this a more competitive, more expensive market. And if that's what they're waiting on, this tool can easily, set them up for success. It's so much better to buy the right asset today and refinance it later when rates do drop than to wait for those rates to drop and then try to be competitive in that market. You're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars more waiting for rates to drop than to leverage Cash to Keys, leverage the equity that's in your home and buy now and then refinance later. Such a great strategy to use and implement. For a lot of people out there, maybe you're sitting on some credit card debt. Credit card debt went over $1 trillion for the first time in the history of our country a few months ago. There's a lot of people sitting there like, well, I don't want to give up my 3% interest rate that I got during COVID. That 3% rate's only doing you good if you don't have any other debt, right? So if you're thinking about making a move, but you're concerned about giving up that 3% rate, the folks here at Annie Mac on the loan side, we can do a blended rate calculation for you. And that blended rate calculation can show you exactly what you can do with all that equity that's built up into your house. Maybe you can pay off all your debt, have a nice down payment, have some money for savings and retirement, and be left with an overall total monthly payment. Yes, at a higher interest rate than your current mortgage, but at a better overall cash flow than what you're currently paying in your existing house. So I could go on and on about the great strategies that we have with Cash to Keys, and we're going to be putting them in our Cash to Keys Mastermind group. So if you're not in that, please find us, Cash to Keys Mastermind on Facebook. Request an invitation. We'll gladly let you into it. Again, we're going to keep posting videos and content on our YouTube channel. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel at Cash to Keys. All my information scrolling across the bottom for any of those paying attention and need to reach out to me and ask questions. I'm personally licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The great thing about New Jersey, Cash to Keys, it is mostly countrywide. We do it in pretty much every state that we're licensed. So if you're in a state that I'm not licensed in, feel free to reach out to me. I can get you connected with one of our Cash to Keys specialists anywhere in the country. Plug into the Cash to Keys Mastermind group. There's plenty of people in there from across the country as well. Ultimately, the goal here is to help agents help their clients, help clients win, and do it at a really high level. So we've been having a lot of fun. Again, say hi to me in the Facebook group. Again, find us on the YouTube channel. And I can't thank you enough for the people that tuned in today and may watch this in the future. Have an incredible end month to the year of 2023. As we close this out and we think about 2024, please consider how Cash to Keys could be a benefit in your business. Maybe think about that client who gave up because they were frustrated by rates or not getting offers accepted. Or think about that client that made more than 3 offers and couldn't win. Or think about that customer that took their house off the market because while they were able to get it sold, they couldn't get their contingent offer accepted, right? There's a lot of people out there that may have given up just by the nature of the market. I really do believe that buying right now could be one of the best financial decisions consumers make. And obviously we're here to help that happen for them. So again, appreciate everyone. Feel free to leave a comment. Any questions there, we'll get right back to you. But again, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.